now tuned into the Rap Lab podcast. Yeah, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, yeah, the Rap Lab, Rap Lab, Rap Lab, Rap Lab, man. The Rap Lab, yeah, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Let's go. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The Rap Lab, yeah, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Bar for bar, we hooking up with TOQG, Rev Barber MC, ALFRE to the D on that MIC, A to Z. We be the flyers. Hip hop sound broke down to a science. It's the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, so you know what that means. All new episode of the Rap Lab podcast is your main man, the Candy Man, the ALFRE to the D.
What up, what up? It's the one and only, the only one, the Red Barber MC. All caps, no spaces, baby.
It's the one and only true. You just call me the QG, a.k.a. the Good Doctor. You need your hip-hop fix? Come on down.
And ladies and gentlemen, judging by his absence, our news correspondent, Bucky Majors, is on vacation this week, so it's just us. Today's topic is from an email suggestion. Shout outs to Aaron from Tampa, Florida, for writing in at raplabpod@gmail.com. He gave us this idea, and his idea was the winner. Originals versus the remix. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to discuss some of our favorite songs that had a remix. And then we're also going to talk about if the original was better or the remix was better, or was a remix even necessary? So first off, Rev, you want to talk about the significance of remixes or what a remix is for the people that may not know?
Well, remix is a dope collaboration between artists that don't necessarily have to be in the same group, or they do, but they actually enhance the original song. And in a case as DJ Khaled, who does many remixes, gets a whole abundance of MCs to grace their presence on some songs. But all in all, a remix is just made really to enhance the original song and maybe be a B-side on a single as well. Back in the day, Puffy had the remix on lock. And he would take, as he says, songs from the 80s, and can't forget Pete Rock as well, who definitely had the remix shit on Smash too. It's more sometimes kind of like a friendly competition too, where MCs or producers try to outdo each other. So yeah, man, much love to the remix game.
And contrary to popular belief, Diddy did not invent the remix. QG, who invented the remix? Can you give us some background historically?
It's reported from the mid-1970s during the disco era, because hip-hop wasn't hip-hop then. It was the disco. And that accolade goes to Tom Moulton. He was a DJ. And he wasn't considered a DJ, but he was, because he played in these parties. So back in the 1970s, he would invent these loops and edits to songs, and it would be a remix of the original. And he also made mixtapes, and popular at the Fire Island Dance Club, going all the way back to the 60s. So as Rev pointed out earlier with Puff, also Jermaine Dupri gets a nod for his remixes, and also DJ Premier. But that accolade goes to Tom Moulton. Shout out to him for being the on record first to invent the remix.
All right, now that we've got the history out of the way, Rev, give us one song that had a remix. And did you think the remix was better? Was the remix necessary? What's going on?
So we head into the South for this, and shout out to my wife who's listening to our show, listens to every single show we drop. So we doing the What's Your Fantasy remix with Ludacris, Trina, Shauna, and Foxy. And the original was dope too. I mean, he already had a hit with it. It got him nationwide notoriety. So having a strong single like that for his album that was on Def Jam, and it actually was his first mainstream solo act. So this was important to Ludacris to have something for the clubs too, and he flipped it and then made a little something for the ladies too. Even though the original definitely ladies showed a lot of love to it, but Trina killed that, man. Oof, boy, she definitely brought in her audience like nationwide because of the song itself, because it was so big. But she just came off lyrically on that. She actually had my favorite verse on it. Foxy Brown, already an established MC, delivered on this too. And it's funny because she had mentioned her quick fling with DMX when she said, "FOX, call me rough sex, pistol whip a bitch, get right on the X, get it right on X, fuck 'em, check right to the next." Yeah, man. So she definitely made reference to that, and she's an artist too. I give her some flack, but she's very fortunate to have that presence because just her voice will keep you tuned in. Shauna showed that she's not only here for the choruses. Her rhyme flow, which she switched up a couple times, showed her depth. Her delivery made you take her serious as an MC who could stand next to these two. And she came like relatively almost out of nowhere, even though she was with a group called Infamous Syndicate. But Ludacris took her under a wing from Chicago, being that he's originally from there too, and not only put her on the chorus, but put her on the remix too with a solid verse. So this is definitely a dope remix for the club. Shout out to the ladies for this. Shout out to Ludacris as well.
Shout out to Luda and shout out to Jess because I know Luda is one of her favorite rappers, if not her favorite rapper. So shout outs to her. Mr. QG, your first pick.
Well, we're going to stay down south and we're going to stay with Ludacris. We're going to go with the Welcome to Atlanta song. And I want to shout out Bertha May because she lives in Georgia. And May 14th, 2002, it was Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris on the original. And what I love about the video is you had a cameo of all these different people. You had Evander Holyfield, you had CeeLo Green, you had T.I., you had T.I.'s wife Tiny, you even had Creflo Dollar in there. You had Usher, Da Brat. You also had the great Dominique Wilkins. Bow Wow was in there, Little John. If you're from Atlanta, you were in the video. The remix to it, they took a trip. Not only did they go to Atlanta, they also went to St. Louis. They also came to New York, and they also went to Long Beach, California. And representing St. Louis was Murphy Lee from the St. Lunatics. And representing New York was Puff Daddy. And representing California was Snoop Dogg. I like the remix a lot more because it gave the people a view of the other regions. And we needed to come together at that time. And I disagree with T.O. We had a conversation off air where he said he would have taken Puffy off for New York and put Fab. Yes, I like Fab, but I love what Puffy said at the end. He said, we're going to build 4 more towers.
Word up.
You know, dealing with what happened with 9/11, we needed that. We needed that outcry. We needed that motivation. And love Puff or hate Puff, we needed that representation for New York because we all are from New York. And you know, with St. Louis, it was good to see Murphy Lee get a shot, get his chance to get out there and put on for his town. And of course, with Long Beach, with California, it was great seeing Snoop Dogg in there, who already had a friendship with Jermaine Dupri. So, and what I loved about the remix more, there was a tribute to Lisa Left Eye Lopez, you know, who passed away around that time. So it was good to see that. Both versions of fire. Ludacris destroyed the original, just completely bodied it, as he was doing at that time when he was on his run. So I like the remix because we got to see other regions and everybody showed love to one another. So it was really cool to see that. In 2007, Impact Wrestling, TNA actually used a metal version of that theme for Bound for Glory when they were in
Oh
Atlanta.
shit. That's what's up.
I had a question, but the song is called "Welcome to Atlanta," right?
hmm
So why did they have a remix with New York and California and St. Louis?
Well, because, you know, with the remix, it was regional. It was a regional remix. That's actually in the tag. It wasn't just Welcome to Atlanta remix. There was actually
Ah,
there's actually
gotcha.
another parentheses by it where it adds in all these other locations. And it's funny because just having Atlanta, St. Louis, New York, and California, they could have extended it if they wanted to. They could have gone to other locations, but it was just good to see that.
All right. Well, for my first pick, we staying down south. And this is kind of funny because I'm not trying to one up anybody on here, but this song had not one but 2 remixes, and all 3 versions was on the same album. It's a hometown game for me. Shout out to my man Juvenile with "Ha," which is the only rap hit to have pure questions and nothing but questions throughout the entire song. The The man had a hit single off of just asking questions, which I still find funny to this day. Um, there was two remixes to Ha. There was the Hot Boys remix, and then there was the more popular Jay-Z remix. And it's funny because when I talk to people who, they're born and raised in New York, and they talk to me about the remix, they never bring up the Hot Boys remix. It's always the Jay-Z remix, and they're like, "Oh, Jay-Z put Juvenile on it." Da, 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 da. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I like the Hot Boys remix better, and I'll tell you why. The Hot Boys remix sticks true to the original. That's number one. So Turk, Wayne, and BG are all on the Hot Boys remix, and they're all asking questions. Like the entire song is just questions, just like the original. Jay-Z comes and does his version of the remix with Juvenile, and Juvenile's verses are all still questions, but Jay-Z just rapped a regular verse. Like, what's the matter, Hove? You couldn't stick to the concept of the song, bro? It would have been interesting if Jay-Z would have, if he would have stuck to the concept and asked questions. And then y'all have heard the Jay-Z remix to that song, right?
Yes. You want to know the funny story about that? He actually did that on the back of a tour bus.
Really?
Yeah, the song was so hot, and he was on tour at the time. And if you're judging it by the year, it has to be the Hard Knock Life tour.
Oh
Got to
yeah.
be the Hard Knock Life tour around that time. You know, they had their tour buses, and the song was so hot, Jay just took the record and just put his vocals on it, unbeknownst to the people of Cash Money, because they didn't even know there was a remix until they heard the remix. They didn't
Yeah,
get
they was
mad.
gonna they was gonna put that on the Clue soundtrack that he had done for it. But Cash
Yeah.
Money didn't agree to that.
Right. They was like, okay, Jay co-signed it, but we're not gonna go that far. But I appreciated it. I said, oh, it was cool for Jay to acknowledge that. And, for people to say it put Juvie on the map. Juvie been out, but it goes the same thing, Candyman, what they said about UGK getting on a song with Jay-Z. It's kind of
And
like that
UG
stamp of approval.
and UGK was out for years before Jay-Z ever did Big Pimpin'.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it didn't put them on the map, but it made them more known to the New York market because we are the biggest market. And I'll be honest with you, before that, like Juvenile was just a regular average artist to me. Before he had all them hits too. Like when I first heard them and heard that song, I thought it was just a funny song. I didn't really take it too serious till Jay jumped on the record. And yeah, he didn't follow the concept, but as I mentioned, he just made it more prominent to out here because I would hear it on the radios and stuff like that, and I wouldn't hear the original on the radio. Back in them days, they didn't play like songs like that on the radio. They were really focused on like New York artists. So by Jay jumping on it definitely enhanced that song and just pushed it more on the Northeast over here. I'm sure in the South it was pretty big, but like it wasn't really making no noise here till Jay got on it.
Here's a hot take, and y'all may disagree. The listeners may want to take a spear or a rod and go off on my head, but
Please do.
I think Jay the way from that verse, because the three of us have heard a fair amount of Jay-Z throughout our lives, but I didn't even like that verse. It felt like Jay-Z phoned it in.
You
Like,
could hear the you
and
could
he
hear the feedback. You could hear the feedback from the verse. It wasn't even mixed down to make it sound like it was actually part of the record, which goes along with the story. He just went in the back of the tour bus where they had a studio and just laid down a verse to it.
my man really got on that record and said, "It's like bruh, bruh. We send shots through your fitted cap." Like
The
what are
verse
you
was
like?
cool. The verse was cool. It wasn't a whack verse, but
Yeah, he
it
brought
didn't.
personality to it.
Yeah. It didn't
Mm,
fit. It didn't fit the theme. Obviously, what you're saying with the questions, it would have been interesting to hear Jay. But Jay just was like, "Yo, I like this record. Let me just rhyme on it." And this wasn't the first time Jay Z has done something like that. Jay Z took "Pump It Up" and rhymed over it.
Yeah, I feel like this verse was better than Pump It Up. He did the little more catchy, got big guns that go brat, brat. So
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people like copying that and just saying that randomly.
yeah, yeah. He liked the record. He appreciated the record, so he just wanted to rap over it.
gotcha. But yep, that's my. And by the way, even my people down south really don't talk about the Hot Boys remix like that, if at all. So I find it to
You
be
think
interesting.
because it was a different beat? You think because the beat was different? It
Well,
wasn't the
no,
original hot beat.
the beat was it was all right. So it's not the original, but it's altered from the original, so it still sounds similar. They just added a
Hmm.
couple things to it. Like they sped it up a little bit. They sped it up slightly and
Right.
added like a bell, like a gong sound to it. But
It
other than
sounded like a
that,
box. It sounded like a boxing intro.
yeah, it did. But yeah, that's my pick. So Rev, go ahead. What other remixes you got?
All right. I'm gonna go actually take the train to Brooklyn here, going with MOP Annie Up and the Annie Up remix. So Annie Up originally was from the Warriors album, and that was their fourth album. And the original had Funk Flex on the intro, screaming and doing what he normally does. I actually prefer the video version without him. MOP, doing what they do, the back and forth rhyme scheme, that Brownsville paint for the portrait. It's always a hit with those guys. You know them for that. And, this song has been a major hit at stadiums, sports, TV, and all MOP had to do was just be themselves. So for the Annie Up remix, that actually was the single off of Funk Flex's Volume 4, 60 Minutes of Funk. And that introduced a lot of us to Remy Martin, who now we know as Remy Ma. And it was dope that she paid tribute to Pun by saying, I wish I could bring Pun back. And then they switched to the beat of It's So Hard. Definitely tugged at the heartstrings, being that it was so soon after he passed. Annie Up was already the biggest hit from MOP, and adding Busta Rhymes to it made it even better. It got across more platforms with his presence. And of course, MOP had to put their guy Teflon on, who he doesn't disappoint. But the Busta Rhymes feature, it just enhanced it by like a million. His energy and everything that he brought. I'm surprised he didn't do more collabs with MOP. But shout out to everybody in Brooklyn. Shout out to Remy Mom. Rest in peace to Big Pun.
Yeah, man. To add into that, it was a powerful record, and MOP is just pure energy with their vocals, and to have Busta Rhymes, who is pure energy himself, it was great. And Remy was making her rounds. Like she was really going around bodying and putting verses. Shout out to Teflon too. Like it was perfect. And it till this day it still gets the party started. Once you hear that ding, and then
Yeah.
it just explodes after that. Like, man, what a record. Powerful.
Ask John Cena.
Right. That's where that sample comes from.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know there was a remix to that song until just now. So I gotta go check that out.
You didn't know there was a remix? Seriously?
I had
Wow.
no clue.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes, Remy Ma. Yeah, Teflon.
All right. What about you, QG? What's next on your playlist?
We're gonna go to California. We're gonna go with Game. It's okay, One Blood, which is a Junior Reed song. Shout out to Junior Reed. Run things, boy. You're large. This came out in the Doctor's Advocate 2006. And believe it or not, D Rock from the Youngbloods and Reefa from Brooklyn, they're the ones who produced this song. Strong single. And for years, I always wondered who Game was talking to with that, you 38 and you still rapping. We can confirm that he was talking to Jay Z. So,
Oh,
and
Mm.
thank God, because I thought that was Master P for a second.
no, no, no. He was talking to Jay. Him and Jay had that little thing, and he was. We can confirm now that it was Jay Z he was talking to, which is kind of funny because Game is up there in age, and he's still rapping, and his new album just came out. So all that you 38 and you still rapping, that didn't age well. And funny enough, people thought that he was actually dissing Atlanta when he said when you turn on the TV, all you see is the A. Better make a dance to get radio play. He was actually talking about Banks and Buck because they had albums scheduled to come out. So he just threw, shots at them. But the mega mix, 11 minutes long, with 25 rappers on it. If I were if I was given the chance to sit here and say everybody, we'd be here all day and then some. But you had so many people. Just to throw a bunch out, Ja Rule, Clips, E40, Dog Pound, just go on and on and on. Jim Jones, Nas, Snoop. And here's a joke for you guys. According to Game, he actually sent that record to 50 to see if 50 wanted to jump on it. I said, Gabe, you got a sense of humor. You know what 50 should have did? He should have took it and just dissed him over it. It probably would have added something a little more humorous. Just, okay, you want me on it? Then I'm gonna go at you. But it was good to see all these different rappers, all these different styles. On the remix, Game's verse was pretty short, but just to see all these rappers on it and just add their element and their style, I thought it was very unique and very, very, very good. It didn't get radio play obviously because it would take forever to play it, but you could go on YouTube and check it out. And overall, same beat, same hook, just had all these different rappers on it. So I thought that was pretty awesome to see everybody come together and be on that.
Shout out to the game who currently in hip hop news for other reasons, which we'll probably touch on next week. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to Harlem and go up to New York. And as much as I don't like this guy, Puffy and Mace been around the world, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and another hot take. I love the remix and hate the original.
Why do you hate the original?
I feel like the song cohesively on the remix just flows and sounds much more better and is put together better than the original. And not for nothing, do we really need Biggie on the hook in the original?
Yes.
And I like
Yes,
Carl Thomas on the hook in the remix, as opposed to Biggie just going, been around the world, yeah, and I've been player hated,
Yeah. Yeah. That was the idea. Biggie would do the hook. Puffy was supposed to be Biggie's artist.
Really?
That was the original plan, was to have Biggie be Puff's manager at that time when he went to California to work on the No Way Out album, which was supposed to be held up in Harlem. Biggie was supposed to play Puffy's role, and Puffy was doing Biggie's role. Like Big would write the rhymes, Jada Kiss and all these other guys would write it, Mace would write it, and that was the original intention. That's why Biggie was on the hook. But I'm happy that you're finally giving Carl Thomas some credit after destroying him on the previous episodes about singing in the rain. So that's good, man.
Listen. I didn't destroy Carl Thomas. I just
You
find
blasted him.
I just find the kind of feminine that he wanted to go play in the rain. Like, what's wrong with that?
You know how many rappers were in the rain? Trick Daddy was in the rain.
He said feminine.
Does that make him feminine? Right.
The
Trick
man,
Daddy was in
if
the
you
rain.
go back
Does
and
that
watch
make him
the Summer
feminine
Rain
too?
video, hold on. If you go back and watch the Summer Rain video, this nigga Carl Thomas was twirling in the rain.
He's an R&B singer.
Yeah.
What?
Usher
It
did it
don't
too.
matter. How many R&B
Yeah,
bro?
she does it all the time.
Usher twirled in the rain. It was an R&B song.
Didn't Silk the Shocker do something in the rain too with Maya or something like that?
Yeah, but he wasn't twirling.
Oh, come on.
You talk about
Listen,
that record
man.
where they was in the when they were in the pool or something like that?
That
Whatever.
wasn't in the rain. I don't think that was in the rain.
He might have been doing karate in the rain in that freaking Hot Boys movie or something.
Yes, that happened. He did karate in the rain, but he didn't twirl in the rain. My man Carl Thomas, the way he was twirling, like he was moving with the wind. Like, get out of here.
A lot of people.
R&B
Hey
singer.
man, I mean Trick Daddy was in the rain too. You don't say nothing about
yeah.
Trick Daddy.
I'm not a fan of Trick Daddy, so don't talk to me about Trick Daddy.
Hey
Oh,
man,
that
listen.
word.
What's
That
wrong with
word, daddy.
right?
I hate that word, daddy.
So that's the reason why you got something against Trick, huh? Because of the word
No.
daddy.
I don't have
make
nothing
sense.
against Trick. I don't have nothing against Trick Daddy. I'm just not a fan of his
You
music.
hate the word daddy. Weren't you talking about Hoochie Daddy shorts a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, but it was
You
summertime.
see?
Summertime about to end now, so it's all. It's
So
all
that
good.
means that season's over.
Yeah, it's pretty much dead now.
Thank God.
It'll be back next year, hopefully.
Not for me.
But back to been around the world. I don't know. The remix just sounds better. It's a faster pace, and the song just sounds so much more cohesive.
I like the third part. I like the third part when they were rapping together, like they were doing line for line. I thought that was cool with Mace and Puff. So they always had good chemistry together on records anyway.
It's more singing in the remix. I think that's why Al likes it.
You know how I feel about singing.
I actually like the remix a little better, believe it or not. I mean, the original was pretty cool too, of course, but I thought the remix was pretty dope when it came out.
Absolutely.
I've been around. I've been around the world.
I mean, the original, the video was better, but the song, the remix was better. So yeah, you can take one for one.
And then the remix wasn't on the album. You had to get the tape or the single.
Yep.
But That video, if it wasn't for that video, Puff would have never met J Lo.
Word up.
Yeah.
But all right, Rev, what's next on your remix playlist?
All right, going to the backyard. Quiet Storm, Mobb Deep and Lil Kim. Funny thing about this song here, it actually was called White Lines. I first heard this on a Clue tape called "This Is It Part One." It actually was for Prodigy's HNIC, and they used the same sample as Grandmaster Flash's The Furious Five. That's why they named it this. But it was reworked, and Havoc added a chorus where he was on it, and it pretty much just let the beat play in the original with the White Lines where he wasn't on the chorus. So the remix, which had Little Kim on it, kept the same intro, had Kim giving a quick shout out to Big, and Havoc jumps on it, pretty much jumping on his own produced masterpiece and does his verse, which is pretty dope. Now, Kim on the chorus had all the lady hip hop heads hype. I guarantee the average female fan knows that whole verse with the
Hmm.
vintage hot demo. Here we go again. Can't forget about that crazy ass dance too that she does. She's gotten a lot of viral notoriety off of that in the past couple years because of her
Right.
performance to the song. But it's all in good fun. Some actually believe that the bars that she spit there weren't for Foxy, but were for Charlie Baltimore and actually Talib Kweli, which surprises me because she was on the People's Party and they didn't really mention anything about that. Um, Prodigy opens up, actually he's last, but he's reciting. He opens up the verse with reciting the chorus that he'd eventually use on Rock That Shit on HNIC, and he kept that same momentum from the original and just knocked that shit out the park. This definitely is one of my favorite remixes. This could be played in the club too. You still hear it around Queens and people's cars. This is definitely a Queens classic.
Yo, I love that remix, but that original with just P on it, man, just gets me going. I think
Yeah,
it's
me too.
because the original is one of the first songs that I ever studied word for word.
Mm.
Especially, I love the way it starts out both. And there's a joke that T.O. and I always do about the edited version on the radio with the
Hmm.
glass breaking and all that stuff
Yeah,
when they take the curses out. But it's just a ball full of energy with that quiet storm, and especially the way P comes in. I love
yeah,
that second verse too, man, where he was like, um, a jungle gym behind the crib, CVRs, VCRs, ATVs, big screen TVs. Like he was just talking on that
yeah.
record, man. And everything you said is true. It was supposed to be his joint. And Violator, because he was under Violator management, that album Murder Music needed a single. And that song was so hot that they just had to put that on there, man. And it pushed that record. But Kim had a killer verse. It's funny you mentioned the situation that people thought the bars were going at Fox because that's what Fox thought.
Hmm.
Because Fox came back on a CNN record with
Yeah.
Bang
Bang
Bang, which
bang.
which we talked about before. So isn't it funny, guys, how two Queens groups, and then you got two Brooklyn MCs going at it, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of ill. Queensbridge or Queensbridge crime, but not really.
Then they had the shootout at Hot 97 too.
Oh God, yeah, that was over that. You know what I'm saying? It was
Yep.
just it was just intense.
But all
Oh
in
man,
all, I actually really like the original. I like White Lines rather, like
yeah.
without the chorus. It just sounded so dark and melodic. I feel like it actually, like that rough cut version, you can find it on YouTube. Just type in Prodigy White Lines. It defined like that Mob Deep sound. And of course, the rework version is just it's beautiful. Havoc is a beast, but
Yeah,
but the original just had that vintage basement gutter like QB feel to it, in my opinion.
I agree. P couldn't be stopped. He was
Oh no.
rapping, man. He was going
Mm-hmm.
off on that record. I enjoyed that record.
That as far as Quiet Storm remix goes, I and both the original and the remix are on Murder Music, both of them. So if you buy the album or listen to it, you can find both. I don't know. I feel like Lil Kim's verse just added an extra oomph that the original didn't have.
She was
Oh
hot.
yeah. And
She was
once again,
hot.
it got the ladies jumping. Ladies.
Mm,
Shout out to all the female hip hop heads. Like I said, I feel like most females know that verse. It's a dope ass verse from Lil Kim.
very dope.
Word.
All right, Dr. QG.
One of my personal favorites of all time, I Shot Ya by LL, man. Whew. Now the original is great. LL is rapping. It's just him by himself. Killer verses. This came out in 1995 for his Mr. Smith album. This was produced by the Trackmasters. Funny story. The original I Shot Ya, that beat was actually produced for Biggie.
Mm.
But Chris Lighty from Violator Management, rest in peace, Chris Lighty, he insisted that LL get his hands on it. And it worked out because for the remix, Fat Joe is also under Violator Management. Chris Lighty was Fat Joe's manager, so he got Joe on that record, and it helped to put Joe out to a wider audience. Even though Joe was out prior, winning at the Apollo, and for multiple days, and he had his crew digging in the crates, he had his records, but getting a cosign from LL meant a lot at the time. And then, you got Keith Murray on there, who was already cool with L, so he gets on there. I find the interesting part is that Prodigy is also on this record, and Prodigy and Keith Murray are at a beef at this time. And Prodigy even dissed Keith Murray on the same record. And I sit back and I listen to it. For those of you out there that don't get it, when you listen to the album version, they edit out the line that he actually says. And he says this: some kids feeling guilty about the space age shit. The truth hurts, baby girl, so just face it. Let's go back a bit. That space age line has to do with what Prodigy said on the Infamous album, where he had an issue with rappers who talked about getting high all in their rhymes. Keith Murray took offense to that, and he approached Prodigy on it. A fight broke out, and they squashed it, but P just threw a shot right then and there. He's like, I'm still going to throw this dart at you. And I find it funny because when they performed it at the Apollo Theater live, all of them are on stage together. And out of respect for LL, they just did their parts. Like, nothing bad happened. So kudos to L for being the bridge. And the biggest thing was Fox. L didn't know that Fox was going to be on this record. He originally knew about Joe, Keith, and Prodigy. The Trackmasters who were producing for Fox at the time and managing Fox, they snuck her on the record. And when they played the song for L, he thought it was a little boy that was rapping on there. He was like, "Who is this?" And it was like, "Nah, it's a female." And he was like, "Oh, okay, she dope." And she was real young at the time. This is when Fox was really cutting her teeth, and she did a great job and had a killer verse. And of course, L being L, throwing a shot at Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, and MC Hammer. What the I thought I conquered the world, Crush Mo D Hammer and Ice-T's girl. This actually spiraled into a Tupac situation. Tupac thought he was getting dissed because of Biggie's Who Shot You. So you got I Shot You. So he thought that these guys were dissing him. They weren't dissing Pac. Actually, there's a rumor that LL was talking about Puff and Big with his verse because there was a business deal that was supposed to go down and it didn't work out. So all speculations, but I don't think LL was talking about Pac. Keith Murray confirmed it. Nobody was dissing Pac, so it's just a strong collaboration record, and it worked out for the Mr. Smith album.
All right, strong record indeed. I got to keep things in New York for. Actually, no. Well, this one starts in New York and bounces all over. Actually, starts in California. So, on the Games, the documentary album, he has Hate It or Love It with him and 50. And then on 50 Cent's The Massacre, it's the Hate It or Love It G Unit remix with Yayo and Banks and Buck. And the remix makes me laugh because Young Buck is the only 7-figure nigga who ain't never got a royalty check yet. But snitching on the business practices in the song. But obviously, we talked about this particular song in the archives on our Posse Cuts episode way back in the day. But I like the remix way much better than I like the original. Just
You
because
do?
I feel like I do, yeah. I feel like Banks and Buck give the song a flavor the original didn't have.
I like the original better, G.
Well, why is that?
Because with 50 in Game and just the story with 50 saying what he was saying on his verses, even though it was the same verses on the remix, which was cool, but I think it was just, with him and Game together and just the East West coming together with different perspectives. Like I remember what Game was saying, used to see 5-0, I throw crack at the bench. Now I'm fucking with 5-0. It's all starting to make sense. Like I just like how both of them were able to tell their stories together. even though Banks and Banks is Banks and Buck and Yayo, it was cool. It was a nice G Unit mix. I think the original Hated to Love It with just 50 in game was just perfect. Like you didn't need no more.
I don't know. I just feel like having the whole crew on enhance the song.
So you think Game's verse, the whole thing about? I think Game threw a shot too at the start of his verse where he was like, "I inherited beef for you, G for you," because there was tension still going on at the time, even before that. And then he was like, "This nigga ain't got it. He want to pretend mad because Ashanti got a new boyfriend." I'm like, "Oh man, that was
Well,
on the
they cleared
remix."
they cleared the verse to go on the record.
Yeah, because it was a Murder Inc. G Unit problem, and Game said what he said, but I like how Game got more personal with the original, where he was like, especially where he said at the end, "Imagine if my moms would have got that abortion. I love you, mom." It was more personal, but that's just my take.
Nah, but I fuck with the I don't know. I just fuck with the remix. Even though I could do without the Tony Yayo verse though.
Envy me, I'm Raps MVP.
I don't think it
But
was
I
that bad.
Yeah, yeah, it was
no.
cool.
No,
Yeah, it was cool.
he's had some bad ones, but I don't think that was one of them.
But here's the thing. I really like the fact that a different rapper does the hook every time
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that
hook
was
comes
dope.
up.
That
that
was
was
dope.
dope.
That was good. That was good.
So
Word.
all right, Rev, what's the last song on your remix playlist?
No doubt, no doubt. So I actually reworked my list and I did this on purpose. I just want to give a shout out to all the females in hip hop, all the ladies. Shout out to my wife. As I mentioned, big supporter of our show. And without these ladies and women in hip hop, there really be no hip hop. We need them. So every song I did today had a female in it, and I'm gonna top it off with "You're All I Need" with Method Man featuring Mary J. Blige. The song was so revolutionary for Wu Tang as a whole. I mean, predominantly Method Man, because he was the group's most sought out member, and it helped him live up to the standard that was created by his allure, especially this being on his debut album. So it was perfect that he had Mary J. Blige on it too, and it gave so much life to the original. Both songs were sampling the Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell's "You're All That I Need to Get By." Actually, all three, because there's three versions of it. Because Puffy gave his version, and I felt like he put a lot of life into it, and that was the most popular version. With him using the sample of Biggie's "Me and My Bitch," which included a small line that he had dropped in there. RZA 2 combated him with the Razor Sharp version, and there was always, like I said, that competition when I mentioned in the beginning about remixes, where like other producers take certain original songs and they just try to outdo each other. That's one of these instances. Um, all three versions were released on the single and peaked at actually number 3 on the Billboard. And this song was actually voted number 1 on Complex's hip hop love songs, and you could definitely see why. It's a good flow of a man's point, and then what I'm saying, like what he's going through, and then Mary just kills the chorus, and this is like one of them universal songs. It could be played anywhere, at a bar, in a club, IHOP. It's a straight vibe. And shout out to Method Mary. They'll forever be tied in together because of this song.
They won a Grammy for that, didn't they?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention that. They definitely
Yeah,
won a Grammy for it
yeah,
too.
yeah. It needed it, man, because that
Hmm.
song, just having that together, like the original, with with Meth, with that hard
Yeah,
RZA
it was
track,
hard.
yeah, that durner, that durner.
Yeah, on the
But then when
The
you
joint
Takal.
add
from
in,
Takal.
Yeah,
oh man, but then when you add in that sweet sound of the queen of hip hop soul with Mary, that's why till this day, whenever Mary is doing a show, she always brings out Method Man to do that part because it's just so timeless. It never gets old. I remember watching an award show where Mary was performing a set of her songs, and she had Meth come out, and it was just so much energy. And Method Man did an interview. He was like, "Man, I can't keep up with this new Mary. This Mary's too much for me because when she performs, she just brings it the way that she brought it when she first did the record. That's what I love about her. That's why she's the queen of hip hop soul, and obviously, it provides that balance. You have that man, you have that woman, and just the way that Method Man is talking on it, it's comforting. Nothing make a man feel better than a woman. Queen with a crown that be down for whatever, forever, my lady. Gonna make babies. Back when I was nothing, you made a brother feel like he was something. That's why I'm with you till this day, boo, no frontin'. Who can't feel that?
Yeah, it's a perfect Valentine's Day song too.
Ah, yeah. For all you lovebirds out there, use that one.
Well, I definitely do not enjoy the original, so the remix it is for me on that one.
You don't like the original, man?
Like I said, too hard,
I hear
too
you.
gritty.
Yeah, for the message it was trying to do, it was just good to have Mary and Meth on there together. It was perfect.
All right, Doc, what's your last one?
This is funny to me because this came out in 1996. I'm going home. I'm staying home with this one. I'm going with the Lost Boys. Music makes me high, and the music makes me high remix. Now, besides the fact that this album is so damn good, we're talking about legal drug money. I love the remix so much because you have the dog pound on it, and you have an unknown hungry rapper by the name of Cannabis on it. And I look at this record because here they are, got Queens, got Long Beach, you got Los Angeles, and then you got now Cannabis been all over because he was down with the Fugees working
Yeah,
his way, and Wyclef, he lived in New Jersey, they were all down there. So this record, at the height of the East Coast West Coast beef, this came out in March of 1996. So you mean to tell me you got a East Coast group and a West Coast group? They're coming together. They're enjoying each other's company at a pool party. Everybody is rapping. Daz, Corrupt, Mr. Cheeks, Cannabis, Freaky Ty having fun doing the ad libs. That right there should just silence everything. But the fact that it didn't have the main key components who were entangled in this East-West so-called beef, that's why people just glossed over it. Because look at the month and the year. This is March of 1996. Tupac died in September of that year. Big died in 97 of March. So you would think, okay, boom, we can get along. East Coast rappers can get along with West Coast rappers and vice versa. We're all cool. We're having fun. We're enjoying it. And it was a dope remix. And everybody killed it with their verse. Cannabis destroyed it because Cannabis with the lyrical machine at that time, the lyrical analyst. He was just hungry, wanted to get in there, and corrupt being corrupt. It was just good to see that. So funny. I look at that now, and we talked about the Horsemen back on this group. That's probably when they first met, Cannabis and Corrupt. So, and then they ended up working together, being a super group with Killer Priest and Roscos. But yeah, Music Makes Me High, the remix.
Never heard the remix. I gotta check that one out too.
There's a video for it and all that. It's very good.
My last pick is a remix that the original artist probably wishes never came out. Shout outs to T.O. for this one because two of his favorite people in rap history is on this cut. But it's because of the remix why he probably didn't know that he was working on an album on Yo MTV Raps. But I'm talking about the Flavor in Your Ear remix from Craig Mack, and on the remix it featured LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, Rampage, and Biggie. And that was the song that the whole world found out that UPS was hiring. It's one thing to do a song with a feature, but a remix of your own song that was a hit, and you get bodied by everybody else that shows up on the remix to your song that was a hit.
Question for you: do you think that Big and Craig were dissing each other on it?
Knowing what I know after the fact and using hindsight, I think so.
Because when you
Because
look
you
at the
remember,
because when
you
you listen to the lyrics, yeah.
yeah, not only that, but they asked Big, yo, where's Craig? What's up with Craig? No, I don't fuck with that nigga.
Hmm. Yeah, he said he did the remix as a favor for Puff, and there's a rumor that need to be put to rest. I guess people couldn't hear it correctly because people thought Biggie dissed the Roots when he said disappear like the Gooch, the invisible bully. People don't know about that. The Gooch is actually a character, and I want to say it's a character from the sitcom A Different Strokes because you've never really seen the Gooch. That's why he said invisible bully. because the Gooch is a bully that actually bullies kids and bullies Arnold, and everybody been through that. When you go through school, there's always this person that wants to be the bully that they so tough. Said disappear like the Gooch, vamoose, you whack to me, take them rhymes back to the factory, and then Craig Mack with his verse was tight though. I like Craig Mack's verse. What up? Word up, no rap, no crap. You bore me. Wanna grab my too lazy? Hold it for me. And then LL, he gets joked on because of he, she, and all that other crazy stuff. But that's LL, man. It's ladies love Cool James. It was good to see LL with Craig and Biggie, And then look at the cameos that was in the video. You had DOS Effects in there. You had Irv Gotti in there. You had people making their appearances. Oh, and Puff having fun dancing in the video. Busta Rhymes just went crazy on it, as he always does. So it was a great collaboration, man. It's just one of those classic posse cuts that you could just play.
I hate to say it, but everybody outshined Craig Mack on that song.
Craig had a cool verse, man.
He had a cool verse, but everybody else's verse was better than his.
You could rank them. I guess you would put Craig dead last. So who would you have as number one?
Biggie's number one.
Biggie's no. Sorry, can you repeat that?
Biggie's number one. Listen, listen, and you know what? I'm listen. It's people like you and Rev 2.
It ain't no people like me and Rev.
No, because everybody seems to think
you said a lot of things about Big, so it's kind of interesting.
He's deflecting right now. Let him deflect.
I'm not deflecting. Everybody seems to think like I'm such a Biggie hater. I give credit where credit is due. He had the best verse on the song.
I mean, it's just great to hear that though. It's just
is he still overrated, and do people give him more credit than what he should get? Yes, but he had the best verse on the song.
It's good to hear you finally saying something nice about him. So yeah,
my man, look how many dope things he said on that song. I'm not from Houston, but I rap a lot. What else did he say? I forget the exact words, but you should be retiring. The UPS line. The fuck this shit. Come on.
Yeah, everybody quotes the UPS line. Don't be mad.
I get more butt than ashtrays. Like at that time, who would have thought to say some shit like that?
Yeah, that was big for you.
Big L.
No, he had the best verse on the song. I could admit it. And
all right, that's good.
When the reels come out, reel this so the people don't think I'm a Biggie hater, because I'm not a Biggie hater. I just tell the truth, people.
You're not a Biggie hater. It's just great and refreshing to hear you finally give him something good.
I've always given him something good, but I also tell the truth. That's my duty on this show, is to tell the truth.
You tell your truth.
You tell your truth. It's not the truth. There's a difference.
Big difference.
Well, y'all can't never say I didn't say something nice about the man, okay?
That's good. That's good. I'm happy you did.
Shout out to the notorious B1, by the way.
Oh no! See, that's it right
there.
He just had to throw that in there.
There you go.
You're the same guy who dissed the notorious B1 on the same episode. You dissed him. So how are you shouting him out now?
Yeah, because he's an idiot. Why would you wait 25 years later? The man is dead. It's all been out.
So don't shout him out now. You just called him. How do you shout somebody out but then insult them right after? I don't get it.
Listen, I'm the Candyman, fam. That's how.
That's what the Candyman does. The Candyman treats you like Jesus. First he'll hail you, then he'll nail you.
Listen, man, I'm too real. But our newest segment, we got a couple of listener questions.
You've got mail
about remixes, so I guess we could read one or two.
Mm-hmm.
The first one we actually have an international email. Anibal or however you pronounce it, Anibal, from Colombia, actually wrote in and says, instead of making a remix, do you think artists should just make a new song entirely?
No, sorry.
Interesting question.
And that's Anibal.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. No, I think just keep your remix. You know what I mean? Making a new song entirely, you might as well just call it part 2, like Puffy did with I Need a Girl, because that seemed like a completely brand new song, different beat and everything.
You could keep a remix. Yeah, like especially with a lot of remixes, you get different verses and you get different beats and you get collaborations. So if you make a different record, you make a different record. But a remix is cool, and it also opens up eyes and ears to the original record because if you hear the remix, you're like, oh, I didn't know that there was another record before that. Let me go back and check that one. So yeah, it's cool to have a remix.
Okay, I got another interesting one here, and Rev, you must have spoke this one into existence because you've been shouting out the ladies all night. This one is from Rebecca from Los Angeles, and she wants to know: have you ever heard a remix to a song and just thought to yourself, "Damn, they fucked up a good song. They should have just left the original how it was."
Oh, we already know what's going on. We
Wait,
know
wait,
what's
wait,
coming.
QG. Since you had the instant reaction, what is it?
I mean, I wonder if Rev is thinking what I'm thinking, so I'm gonna let him go.
Damn, there's actually a lot to choose from here. Damn, who botched remixes? Shit.
You want me to
Rev,
help you? You
Yeah,
want
I'm,
me to
su-
help you with
I'm
that, Rev?
Rev. Hold on, before you go, Rev. I'm surprised because the last time I was in the barbershop, you and I talked about this. I don't know if you remember.
Hmm.
And you said H money bags. I don't work
Oh
for
my
you.
god.
Oh
Bottom right
no,
remix?
H money
Wow.
bags.
Yeah.
Oh
No, I should have
no.
left that completely alone. Um. Yeah. No. No. Absolutely, yo. Trust. Yeah. No. That
H
should have been left.
money bags. Oh
Yeah.
Lord, I remember that too.
There's a lot of like I mentioned at the top of the show, like sometimes they just overdo things with the remix. Like they have too many people on the remix, like the horse and carriage remix.
There
That was
we go.
unnecessary. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
what
I
it was.
That
was.
wasn't
That's
unnecessary.
what
What are
it
you
was.
There we
talking about?
go. That's what I was
Fucking
thinking.
Jim
There
Jones
we
doing
go.
somersaults, and they took the fucking what was that sitcom? Was it Perfect
No,
Stranger? Was it that joint? No, Night Court. Night Court. There you
it
go.
was Night Court.
Yeah, they took that shit, man. And, oh yeah, and then the Arab Money remix had a whole bunch of people not shouldn't really have been on it. Motherfuckers had T Pain and Akon on the same song rapping. Shit is crazy.
What about you, QG? Who a remix they fucked up?
Oh man. Lean Back remix.
Really?
I didn't like
Yeah,
the
for Little
combination.
John.
Oh yeah, with Little John, Eminem, Fat Joe, and Mace, I didn't really dig that.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
it was too much. And the original song was way too powerful. You didn't have to do a remix to that. I mean, it was good
Yeah, I agree.
seeing a collab that we've never seen or heard before, but nah, you didn't have to do a remix for that. That could have stayed the way it was.
The first song that comes to mind for me, y'all are gonna be very surprised. I'm about to attack my own people for this one, but Akon and C Murder should have never hooked up for the remix to Locked Up.
I agree
That
with you.
should, bro. That should have never because one, C Murder was in prison, so he recorded his verse on a tape recorder, and they sent it to the label and they put it over a beat. Yo, when I hear the audio quality of that, it sounds like when you was a kid. You know how they used to tell you to tie two tin cans together with a string.
Hmm.
That's how that audio quality sounded. Like he talked through the tin can with the string.
Mm.
But yeah, that's one of my favorite hooks of all time. Locked up and won't let me out. So Rap Lab episode. It's been too long since I last sang a song. So there you go.
Make sure you
But
keep it that way.
that's very funny.
I'm telling you.
Uh, and then the last question regarding remixes comes from Robert from the Bronx. Wants to know: there have been a few remix albums in hip hop where an album comes out and it's entirely full of remixes. How do you guys feel about that? I
Not a
guess
big fan
remix.
of it.
I've never been a big fan of remix albums either, and I think that's something most DJs mostly do. If I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, well, no,
And
I mean
Puffy.
even though,
Puffy came
yeah,
with a whole compilation. We invented the remix.
Yep.
yeah. And Beyonce, even though she's not a rap, but she's part of the culture technically, she had a whole remix album around 2008, and everybody, and that's where that Ego remix that Kanye verse that people love came out.
Didn't Nelly do
So
one too? The
Nelly did.
sweatsuit.
Nelly had no Sweatsuit was a compilation of
Oh yeah.
Sweat and Suit, but it wasn't
Hmm.
a
Right.
It wasn't a
Right.
remix album.
Right. Because he
Goddamn,
had
goddamn,
right.
goddamn Master P had a fucking remix album, and that shit was atrocious.
Right. Because I'm thinking Nelly changed up a couple songs on that sweatsuit.
Nah.
Oh no, yeah, those are two different. He just went with two different vibes because like My Place was on Suit and like Hot in Here was on Sweat.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah, like and what was that? Your favorite Nelly song QG with Tim McGraw was on
Not my
Sweatsuit.
favorite. Not my favorite. Never will be my
The
favorite.
Over my head.
That
Keep
song went
only
over.
remix,
coming and coming again.
Yep. That song went over everybody's head.
the only remix albums I really care for is if like Ninth Wonder does them or Rest in Peace MF Doom, of course, if he does them or Madlib, like when they do remixes of stuff, like I actually really enjoy it, especially Ninth Wonder. He does the Nas remixes,
Oh
classic.
yeah, yeah. Premiere too. Like,
Oh
they
yeah,
were like, yeah, those guys when they whenever a dope producer touches it and makes a remix out of it, I'm all for it.
Nah, but that Master P remix album, he remixed his greatest hits, and dear God, that album that hurt my ears when I heard that.
Did he remix Ooh Wee Wee?
He did not. He did
He
not.
sh- he should have.
However, that was the first and only time to this date that I bought an album with my own money and threw the CD out.
You threw it out.
Hell yeah, I threw that shit out. No, that one, it was another one. Do you remember the Tupac New Mix Classics?
I remember.
oh yeah,
It
yeah,
was like that gold
2003.
album
Yep,
cover, like that gold
I
album cover.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
I threw that shit in the garbage too.
I wasn't gonna buy that, man. You bought it.
It was given to me as a gift.
Okay. I mean, it was given to you as a gift, and you still threw it out.
How? I'm not gonna. What? I was just supposed to let it sit there and collect dust.
Ah, that's cold, man.
The trash compactor was hungry, so I let it have it.
Ah,
But this has been our originals versus remix episode. Hopefully, y'all don't throw no remixes in the trash like I had to. But any final words, fellas?
shout out to all the remixes and the originals. Like, it's crazy because we haven't had any recent remixes now, have we?
Yeah, we haven't. I've been actually looking for some too recently, and nothing big. I mean, DJ Khaled, yeah, because he just throws everybody on a track, but not
Yeah.
really.
Damn, it's
Well,
been that long.
been a while, but hopefully we come to something soon. But again, folks, for those of you who wrote in and got on the air, we want to shout you out. Shout out to Aaron from Tampa again for the topic idea. And if you got topic suggestions, raplabpod@gmail.com. But for the rest of the lab, man, we catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.
The rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab. Let's go. The rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab. Ball for ball, we hooking up with TOQG, Rev Barber MC, ALFRE to the D on that MIC, A to Z. We be the flyers. Hip hop sound broke down to a science. It's the rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The rap lab, the rap lab, the rap lab.